Hey everyone, it's Melanie of Furniture Recreated. This week's project, and I guess last week's project, is a Dutch door. If you don't know what a Dutch door is, it's a door that's basically cut in half. There's a top and a bottom, and they both open individually, and they can open together. It's kind of a cool concept, although I don't see them much anymore. This one is still around. This door was quite a challenge. I did a lot of meticulous sanding on it, but I think I got the results that they were looking for. Stick around. Of course, the first thing I needed to do was clean off the years of dirt, and I used vinegar and water, 1 part vinegar, 1 part water. And then I wanted to just do a trial run here to see how well vinegar and a little steel wool would clean off this doorknob. And I would say it worked pretty darn well. Now I do a more thorough job later. I boil everything in 1 part vinegar, 1 part water for about 20 minutes. And you'll see more of that later. Alright, I took all of the screws out of this hardware for the doorknob, and you can see nothing's coming out. This button right here, I'm going to push it in, and hopefully this one it'll come out. Let's see if we can do it. That just popped off the top. There, release that. Now there's this right here. So I think, I don't know, I need 2 hands, so I'm going to try that and see if pushing on this or if that releases all of this. Now I've watched my husband Phil install doorknobs many times, but I never paid attention. But I'm pretty good at taking things apart and putting them back together. I love puzzles, and this was a puzzle. I was figuring it out as I went along. Pop that off over here. There's a space. This came right off. Now I can unscrew these. I don't think I needed to take this off, but maybe. Okay. So I popped this off. There's a little spot I could put the screwdriver under and pop it off, and now there's these screws, so I can unscrew these, and then this will all come off. Ta-da! This lock would have been impossible to get out had I not had a key that actually went in there, because I needed to be able to turn it around and around and around to unscrew it. And I don't know what else I would have used. So that's something you should take note of. I don't mind telling you that glass makes me very nervous when it's a commissioned piece. So I kind of came at this like a hurricane window. I've seen that on the Weather Channel, so I decided to tape everything up that way. I was very grateful that the majority of the door was easy to sand, because the next part coming up was not easy at all. I think this is a good time to mention that a door has two sides. Not that you didn't know that, but everything I do on one side, I have to do on the other. and that means it's a lot of work. The door looks simple, but for every groove, every small area, there is time that needs to be taken to hand sand it properly so that the finish will be beautiful in the end. I did consult an expert. My husband works with a painter that refinishes doors all of the time, and he suggested I use some stripper and a brush and some steel wool. Unfortunately, the stripper made the wood even softer, and I just didn't feel comfortable using it. And so I stopped stripping and I went back to hand sanding. Now everything came out beautifully, even the areas where I stripped. And I can't say the stripper didn't work, but it made me nervous to think that it was just shredding the wood. I didn't want to ruin this door in any way, and I didn't, but my heart just said, do it by hand, be meticulous, and get it done right. Now I'm speaking specifically of the top where the windows are. I did strip the triangles at the bottom, but on the top, that wood was so thin and so soft that I just felt better hand sanding it. The way I get a very smooth finish is I start with 120, I go to 220, and then I go to 400 grit. Then when I'm all done sanding, I use mineral spirits before I do anything else, and that does two things. It shows me if there's any areas I still need to sand, and it also raises the grain so that if there are any scratches, I can sand those out. The one thing I had the most trouble with was these triangles. One side of these triangles I could sand with the grain easily, and the other two it was very difficult because there was just a small little stroke that I could make. So I did a little research and discovered that I could actually go against the grain just in the beginning to get off the majority of the finish and then return to my short little strokes. That gave me a little bit of relief. I'm using wood finish that is neutral or natural stain. It's a stain, but it doesn't have any pigment in it. So all it's doing is bringing out the wood grain, the color of the wood, and leaving it natural. And I think it looks beautiful. In spite of the fact that it does have some weather damage, I think I was able to sand away enough of the damage that it still looked absolutely gorgeous in the end. Now I'm back to the hardware. I have boiled it all for 20 minutes in 1 part vinegar, 1 part water, and now I'm using 000 steel wool to polish it off, make sure that I get all of the dirt off of there, and what's left is this gorgeous brass finish. Now that the wood has been quenched by the stain, I can now apply the fast drying polyurethane. It's an oil base and it's a warm ultra flat. That is my favorite. I just love the finish. This finish will protect the wood. I'm putting on 3 coats and I start in the center. And the reason I do that is so I'm not leaning in on the sticky wood. So it's really just logical to start in the center and work your way out. And I did the same on the top as well. One thing I do want to point out is this top coat is an oil base, and that means it takes time to dry. And I allow at least 2 hours before I use my finishing pads in between coats. You always want to do that. That is going to give you the very best smooth finish possible. and the 3 coats will really protect the wood for years to come. Corners and grooves can be a real pain. I am actually using a dental tool to pull out any extra gummy glue that was left behind before, and just getting rid of any crusty stuff that's in any corner or groove on the top or bottom of this door. Now it's time to put the puzzle back together. Okay, I want to explain this lock to you. So this part, it's a whole big box. You saw me put that in. And these 2 screws are really super long. And they go from here to here, where that little hole is. Now the other one, down here, actually holds this little goofy thing in place. And this part of the lock, this part, goes on the other side. It's like a puzzle, and it goes in here like that. I'm going to screw this part in when I turn the door over, the top part of the door. All right, so this part has some grooves here, and this goes here. So that screw that I told you goes right there. It's going to connect with this right here to hold that in place. All right, so this goes here. And I'm going to put this in, and it's going to screw in place. Now, I've got just a key that just happens to fit in here so that I can tighten this up. I'm going to put that in. Oh boy. I want to break this key. That would not be good. Oh boy. Alright, I need both my hands, but you get the idea. Okay, I had to put the key all the way down so I could turn it. And now, get straight. All right, now I gotta put in the other side. I gotta screw this one into place so this lock will stay put. Okay. All right, sprinkle this out. So now we're on the other side of the lock, and here is that square. Now I need to put that square into there. Okay, and then screw it down. My goal with this door was to get the best possible finish I could get with a natural colored wood. And in spite of the areas around the doorknob, places where hands and their oils would touch the wood and moisture, things like that that really you can't repair, I think the finish looks absolutely beautiful. And I think my customer will be happy.
You can do it.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. You can find more videos just like this on my YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe.